Welcome to Report to the People. The President of the Rochester City Council is with us, Randy Staver. Kathleen Harrington, the President of the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce. And newly elected Chairman of the Olmsted County Board, Bier. Welcome back after all these years.
Thank you, Jane.
It's always fun to have you here.
I'm not sure why. I don't know what your definition of fun is, Jane, but let's go.
Okay. 2018, the biggest accomplishment that your body of government made. You start with you.
Me?
Yeah.
Ooh, 2018.
Yeah, just the year passed.
The year passed. Well, transitioning with our new county administrator, Heidi Welsh, changing things around and getting organized and running things the way she likes to run things seemed to work out pretty well. We had a lot on our plate. We had affordable housing, transportation with the DMC, just kind of business as usual. We really didn't have a big projects last year. Continuing in 2019, the two big things again will be affordable housing and transportation. We've got a lot of people that need places to live, workforce housing, transitional housing, and affordable housing for people that aren't working or have needs, special needs, that type of thing. That's going to continue to be a struggle. Transportation with DMC, with the infrastructure and having the transportation nodes, that's going to be a big topic. Those will be the big issues this year.
Okay, Kathleen, the Chamber of Commerce.
I think one of the biggest issue we faced this past year, and succeeded in but still have a ways to go, is continuing to engage small business in the activities, especially of local government, giving them the information, the confidence to really exercise their voice to their local government. So we will continue to do that, but that is our mission, and we've seen some progress, but we'll not let up.
Okay, and 2019?
For the Chamber of Commerce, I think definitely 2019 is where we're really looking to see what will the economy hold. There is much discussion, much speculation about what will happen with the market fluctuations, with the interest rate impacts. So we're looking to see, and also the retirement of so many baby boomers who own and operate small businesses in our region. So we're really looking to see what the economic impact will be and how we can best help our members lean into the new climate that seems to be emerging, starting with our economic summit on January 15th, which will be focused on the major sectors of our economy, in addition to healthcare, agriculture, manufacturing, and small business.
Wow, big year in the month of January. All right, Randy Staver, your biggest accomplishment. You had a lot of them, didn't you?
We did, and as Jim said, it's a little difficult to select just one, but I would pick up on his comments as well that we're very happy with the transition of leadership. We had a number of positions change, senior level positions, whether it be our city administrator, assistant city administrator, city attorney, public works director, just a whole host of individuals, and I've been very pleased with how that has turned out. Our city administrator has been in place now for about 18 months, and he's really starting to really engage even more than when he first arrived. So that's been very pleasing to see. A lot of changes came along with that, some new ways of getting things done within the city, a new budget process, things of that nature. So I think a lot of what we accomplished in 2018 was really just stems from some of our new staff and some new procedures and ways of doing things. Now for 2019, it's interesting. One of the things we're really excited about is that a number of projects will be coming to fruition. We talk about the Hilton Hotel on Broadway, we talk about Urban on First, Discovery Square 1, just a number of building projects that will be completed yet in 2019. And of course what that means is we're ready to tackle the next ones. It's a never-ending challenge sometimes. So I think in 2019, you're going to hear a lot more about a transit plan and implementing that transit plan, a circulator route, transit hubs, things that we can do to alleviate some of our traffic concerns, park and ride, things like that. We know that we need to be far more creative. We can't build our way out of this. We can't build enough parking ramps or surface parking lots. So we're definitely paying a lot of attention to that. And so I think in 2019, you're going to see even more activity in that regard, executing some of those plans that we've been talking about.
And more people are talking about who's going to live in all of these apartment buildings that we're building for DMC, and where are we going to find the workers to help make these companies go that they're looking for. And the affordable housing still doesn't get down to where the people can afford it. So what do you do about that?
Well, I think that's something where we all work collaboratively through the city, county, businesses. Certainly they're worried about workforce. Rochester Area Foundation, of course, we had formed a coalition over a year ago and to try to address some aspect of affordable housing. It's certainly not enough. We know that there's still a gap, and we talk about ways to fill that. By the same token, we do have this influx. We were listening to the chancellor for University of Minnesota Rochester yesterday, who said they're at near capacity. They don't have room for more students that would wish to live in that downtown area where the academic space is located. And then, of course, we continue to have people coming to Rochester, whether it be for Mayo Clinic or other jobs, and they bring with them, most often, a partner and a family, and they need places to live, work. And so that'll, I think, continue to be a challenge for all of us. We recognize it. We get it. We understand that. But sometimes the answers are not easy, nor are they quick.
Okay. Kathleen, I know the chamber with its registration for jobs and a lot of services you provide are trying to help with the workforce issue. How's it coming?
Well, workforce is, as Randy said, a challenge for our region, our state, and the country. I mean, with demographics is destiny in this case. But we also have the challenge of cost of living, taxes, housing shortage, and we're really looking at workforce in all of those areas. We're trying to help the people who are here transition into other jobs that they may want. We're definitely trying to work with Mayo Clinic and others to make certain that those accompanying talent comes with the recruits to Mayo Clinic find successful employment. And oftentimes it isn't here, it may be in the cities or maybe in Mankato. So we're working with other communities to help that accompanying talent find meaningful employment. So we're looking at it from a policy perspective, public policy, resources to help people find the best fit for them for jobs, and training to make certain that people can improve their skills to find the jobs that they may want to move on to. But we definitely have a shortage. We have a shortage of bodies. And as a community, we have to all lean into this and say, what do we do to improve all of the circumstances? It's particularly cost of living here.
Several places this last week announced that they were closing, among them Perkins, Baker Square, and why?
Well, I think that's a lot of it is market forces and demand for certain kinds of entertainment, food, services. So I think in addition to the market and what people want, I think workforce is a complicating factor in this. So again, we have to really work with our businesses as they transition their customer experience, but also help them find the workers who need to come here, which is one of the reasons why we're so concerned about public policy issues that may emerge, like minimum wage increases, which is proven will reduce the number of jobs available and really hurt our employees, our employers. So I'd say there's market forces, some economic forces, and shortage of workers.
Okay, easy answers, right, Randy?
Well, I think in certain respects, some of those decisions are outside our control, especially as we talk about chains and corporate entities. It's somewhat interesting. It depends on, how you perceive it or how you want to take it. It was reported by some of our smaller businesses that in certain respects they view it as indicative of people are desiring of unique dining experience and things that are local. And we've seen a number of those restaurants open over the past several months or years, and people are gravitating towards those. So that's a good thing from our local business and so forth. Now, I must underscore that for those businesses, even if they're a chain that close, those are still local workers, and they're potentially out of a job if they can't land somewhere else. So I'm very concerned that it is affecting people in our community, even if we don't necessarily, we might think, well, it's just another chain restaurant that's closing. But again, there's some other aspects there that you really need to be cognizant of, and those can be concerning as well.
I'd forgotten Kmart, of course, that's the most recent one that is predicted to close in the city, and that'll be a big loss with a lot of workers. So,
Jane, if I could just add to what Randy said, and I'm sorry, Jim, to jump in here, but
No.
it's one of the reasons why the Chamber started and will continue the whole notion of encouraging our friends, our neighbors, our community to shop local first. The headwinds of online commerce are so strong. It's convenient, and also the headwinds we face and continue to face with people getting in their cars and going to the city for shopping and entertainment. So you'll see the Chamber continue to really push this messaging and encourage the change in the consciousness of people to think about what does it mean to support your local business person, your local restaurateur. It means more taxes. It means those taxes go to support our community facilities, our schools. Those businesses support the local activities and local philanthropy. So we're going to really keep pushing hard, but it's a strong headwind. Online shopping is here to stay, but how do we help businesses improve their customer experiences and help keep those customers coming in the doors, but also improve our consciousness, raise our consciousness to support our local employers because they're our friends, our neighbors, and the taxpayers.
okay, you were going to say.
Well, I agree with you, Kathy, and one thing I'd like the Chamber to weigh in, we're reviewing our purchasing, how we do purchasing in the county now, and we have two sides of that coin. The one side is, well, we want you to take the lowest price, no matter what. Well, a lot of times, not a lot of times, but what if the local price is higher than somebody from out of town? Do we take, do we give points, or how do we assign a value? Because I agree with you, shopping local where the workers are your friends, your co-workers, and the money stays locally and the tax money stays local versus using a service from out of town where it's an architectural service, financial service, CPA firms. I'd like to keep those things local, but again, we hear truth in taxation, keep the prices low, take the lowest bid, So it'll be interesting to work with the Chamber, and like I say, maybe we can come up with some type of scoring system that favors the local because the money stays here.
No, I think that's a great point, and that tension is really significant. And we really appreciate what the county examining that question. And probably other factors have to be added in, such as the impact to the local tax base in the evaluation. So there may be a deeper dive, as you're suggesting, to do that analysis as you grant contracts.
Okay.
Back to workers though too. Here we sit out at RCTC, and this is a great place, and with the CTEC and everything else, where we're transitioning workers from we've got to match the people with the skills that are needed now, today, versus skills that they may have had in the old days, or past skills that are no longer needed. And this is this facility here, and I just want to put accolades out, is along with the CTEC, we're retraining people to get current skills that they can use, and so they're more employable and they can make a better wage. So I think that's a good thing we do out here.
And that's a great point to give the accolades to RCTC and their ability to respond to the needs of employers. I think we can all celebrate the aviation program that's going to start here, because the need for pilots in the country, in the region, is significant. And the career path for those who enter that field is very rewarding
We don't have to talk about minimum wage for pilots.
No, we don't. We don't. And maybe we shouldn't talk about mandatory retirement either. But RCTC is leading the way here in training those pilots and giving really good futures to the young people, and we need them today.
Yep. In fact, we'll be interviewing again the head of RCGC to talk about this land changing curriculum development.
Yes.
It's great. All right, you've been trying to say something the last three
No,
times.
I thought it was interesting that my colleagues would bring up the economic impact in shop local. It's not necessarily a straightforward question to be answered, keeping those dollars local, but then we often talk about how many times a dollar turns over in a community. So there's a exponential effect. Another great example of that is oftentimes we talk about the Mayo Civic Center and quite frankly the money that it loses when you look at just the facility on an annual basis. But the thing we look at more broadly is what's the economic impact to our community. So when we bring events, conventions, entertainment, whatever, to the Civic Center, most often that also results in hotel nights, dining, retail, a number of other services that help support our economy. So we do track that, but again, it takes work, it takes time to be able to track the overall economic impact. So I would just suggest that when we do look at buy local, even though it might be more expensive, and I agree with that, there are times when I will purposely go to my small neighborhood hardware store, and I know I'm going to pay more, but they have what I need, and I'm willing to do that. But keeping those dollars local and turning them over repeatedly has an exponential effect that really needs to be considered.
We've talked the last few months about the Civic Center and whether we should have a consultant working to get more talent and fill the center and make a profit. Tell us what the city has done with that.
Well, coincidentally, the City Council just last evening took action to adopt a contract to work with a firm, the same firm that we've been working with to date, to take us to that next step. We are, as a council, we decided that we feel the best model is to bring in an outside expert management company to help us manage the operations, the facility, et cetera. So now for the balance of 2019, now that we have approved that contract, that is what this consulting firm will be doing, is a lot of that background work that will lead up to probably creating will lead up to a request for proposal to now look at various firms. This is their expertise, because one of the other models, keep in mind, was to bring it in-house, to make it a completely city-run department. And we felt that probably wasn't the best use of governmental resources. And my personal opinion is I think taxpayers want government to take care of public safety and roads and bridges and and clean water and make sure the electricity works. They don't necessarily want us to run a civic center. So I think it's making use of the finite resources we have in the best way possible. And again, there's some other interesting aspects that could come out of this. Imagine if we have an expert outside firm, and this is what they do, this is their expertise. They will also have connections within their industry. So one of the common critiques we hear is that we don't get the more current entertainment acts. We're kind of always at the bottom of the list. So I would hope, and what I'll be looking for is as we bring in these expert management resources, they will also have those connections to maybe get some of those things that our community is asking for. The other thing I do want to emphasize is it is a community center. It is very much a part of Rochester. So this isn't all about dollars and cents. We want to definitely make room for local events that might also need that sort of space. But again, it's a balancing act. And so 2019, we are moving forward with the idea of an outside management firm, with the idea that we would have all of the individuals hired, the contract executed, and they take over about a year from now.
Okay. All right. County issues. We've been talking about the city and the public and private sector, but we haven't talked about the county issues. And did you get enough money for your roads and bridges?
Well, we,
Never get enough.
never get enough money for our roads and bridges. We're doing good. We have, I'm sure if everybody is aware, we have the 0.25% sales tax that's dedicated to roads and bridges, of which $3 million a year we hand over to the city for DMC projects, and that's working well. We have the $10 wheelage fee on your license tabs, and that's dedicated. We have signs up around the county when we do some of these projects. This is paid for with your wheelage tax. The public has been pretty receptive to that. With growth, with the DMC growth, we continue to struggle with funding for transportation projects. Two big projects. One we'll be starting this year. We'll be opening the bids for the continuation of County Road 5 from the Pine Island New High School over to the Elk Run interchange. That will be, the bids will be open sometime this spring. Work should start on that. That should be graded, and then we should concrete it next year in 2020. That's a big project. We have to go over the Zumbro River. The structure going over the Zumbro River is going to be as big as the structure we put over the Zumbro River on the 55th Street, which is a large structure. It's the largest bridge structure we've done in Olmsted County. That was all paid for. The one on 55th was paid all local money. No federal money, no state money. So I think the taxpayers in Olmsted County and the city of Rochester have stepped up to the plate. We have other projects that we need. One I'm trying to fast forward is County Road 104 and Highway 14 out by RDO, and it's in Cascade Township there. If you've driven that at 7:30 in the morning, I'm surprised there hasn't been a fatality there. There's many near misses. Well, we've got the plans ready for that. We've got our funding stream. We need the state to step up. I think Senator Senjum's going to introduce a bill for that. But that structure, that'll be a grade separation, so there'll be an overpass, full interchange with exit and entrance ramps. That's an expensive project. Two reasons it's expensive. It's not square with the world. It's not a right angle. It's a kittywampus. We also have to get over the Canadian Pacific Railroad tracks like we did with Circle Drive. Get ready for this. I don't want you to faint. Our estimates are $45 to $50 million for that. That's a lot of money. I don't care whether you're talking to Randy or Kathleen or me. That's a chunk of change. But these are things, when we have a growing community, we've got to fund these projects, and it just takes money. So.
All right. Now that brings us to DMC and the changes in the DMC board that happened because of the election. And for sure, the mayor's spot will be taken by a new mayor, Kim Norton. And now you will continue to serve, right?
Yes.
That's good.
People may have opinions on that either way.
No, but I think it's good because you've watched the problems grow and the challenges grow, and you'll have more ideas on how to raise money, like $50 million, right?
Well, I'm not sure DMC is going to be involved in that particular transportation project. It's not all about raising money. It's about spending money wisely, and growing the community. We've got affordable housing. Like Randy said, we can't continue to have everybody drive their cars downtown. It's just not going to work. There's a lot of issues there. It's not all fun and games, believe you me. So,
Yeah.
but no, I will continue to be on the DMCC board.
Yeah,
So
the
thank
benefit
you.
of your experience, having been at the beginning of the legislative process through now, is invaluable, Commissioner. And I think the community really appreciates it, so.
Thank you.
I would agree that continuity is important. Keep in mind, DMC was billed as a 20-year plan, and we're almost 6 years into it now. Time has really gone by rapidly. You mentioned that we'll have a new mayor on the spot, and then there's another spot that is normally in the legislation allotted to the city council president, unless the city council president happens to work for Mayo Clinic. That's why I've not been able to take that seat. So, and Councilmember Mark Hickey left office, so Councilmember Nick Campion will be the city designee on the DMCC board. So you have a couple of new faces there. So I would agree it's important to have that continuity of some established members, because DMC, it seems like, getting involved in increasingly complex and more projects every day.
And the project, for example, the clinic is building in cooperation with some other groups. What are they going to put there? They're going to put part of it for the University of Minnesota, Rochester, but there'll be new businesses there, right?
We would certainly hope so. We really need a diversity of economic. It can't all be housing, it can't all be retail, it can't all be healthcare. We need that mix. And in fact, one of the things we hear from our community, if we truly want to make downtown a livable area, we need to have some of the amenities like grocery store, daycare, those sorts of things, not just, parking and places to work. If people are, and there's even talk of someday perhaps we'll need an elementary school down in that area, so that you can really attract and serve people's needs.
That new parking ramp is really beautiful with its tunnel for the train to go under.
I think the important thing there is the city decided to spend some extra money, and we actually put the footings in that parking ramp such that we can build up. And the idea was always to build housing above the parking ramp, ideally affordable housing. Now, at the time when we put out requests for proposals and bids, there wasn't a lot of interest, but I think that was, in my opinion, largely because that land was bare land. People couldn't envision what we were talking about with the parking ramp and the tunnel and so forth. Well, now that's done, and that opens. In fact, it's partially open now. But that will fully open here in the spring. And so the city will be putting out a request for proposals again here in 2019. And it'll be interesting to see if we get some more interest now that people can see, oh, this is the base structure. And again, we decided to make the investment in the footings of the building so that we can go up, because it's certainly, land is too precious, especially downtown. Can't go out so much, so we've got to look three-dimensional.
All right. What can the citizens tell you before next week's report to the people? What are you looking for from the people of Olmsted County? Help in budgeting or?
Well, I had my speech, my State of the County speech today. It's on the website now. Basically, what I had a call to volunteer. People, we want to react to things that are happening in Washington, D.C., or the state of Minnesota up in St. Paul. And really, if you want to make an impact, and I'm paraphrasing my own speech, it's good to be involved with those, but if you really want to make an impact, do something locally. Go to an elementary school, read to a child, take a kid to Oxbow, take a kid fishing, go shovel your neighbor's walk. Do things locally, because you can have the biggest impact here locally. So that would be my message.
Like the governor said, if Washington won't lead, Minnesota will. And you say, and if Minnesota doesn't, Olmsted County and Rochester will.
That's right. Don't wait for somebody else.
All right, Kathleen?
Well, I think what we're trying to do this month is to really hear from our businesses, especially our small businesses, on what are their needs, what policy needs might we be addressing in this coming legislative session and with our local government. Not that we look to government to solve all problems, but I think we want to hear what are the issues that they want to see addressed or redressed.
Okay. Randy?
Well, tagging on that a little bit, I think, and we'll talk about this more maybe next month, as our legislative priorities for 2019, and how those impact Rochester and the surrounding community. And along that way, we will certainly want to hear from our citizens. What do they think about some of the priorities that we've established, and as we continue to talk to our legislators?
Okay, Randy Staver, thank you. Kathleen Harrington, thank you. And Jim Bier, thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right,
Thank you,
thank
Jane.
you,
Thank you,
our
Jane.
viewers, for your interest in our report to the people. Let us know what your questions are, and we'll ask it next time. Have a good week. Have a very good night.